South Korean lawmaker and spy agency dispute whether North Korean hackers stole Pfizer Covid-19 data. Seoul, South Korea, CNN. Did North Korea hack the US drug maker Pfizer and steal data on COVID-19 vaccines and treatment research? The answer, at least on Wednesday in South Korea, depends on who you ask. South Korean lawmaker Ha Tae-kyung told reporters Tuesday that he and other members of the National Assembly Intelligence Committee were briefed by the country's spy agency about the alleged attack. Ha's office confirmed the remarks to CNN on Wednesday. Later that morning, the National Intelligence Service, called NIS, put out a statement rebutting Ha's claims. The agency said it reported general incidents of hacked attempts of coronavirus vaccine developers to Ha and the committee, but did not specify any company names including Pfizer. The National Intelligence Service did not say that Pfizer was hacked by North Korea in a Q&A session of the briefing yesterday for the National Assembly Intelligence Committee. The NIS statement read, Ha, who is a member of main opposition party, quickly shot back on Facebook. He said that the briefing document shared with the lawmakers named Pfizer, but the NIS collected the document at the end of the meeting, likely for security purposes. Ha said he took notes to remember the document's key point. He posted a copy of the notes online, which included a reference to Pfizer and the vaccine data hacking. I wouldn't have been able to take notes about Pfizer if that was mentioned in the document, he said. It's unclear when the alleged attack happened. Pyongyang has not publicly acknowledged the alleged thief, though North Korean diplomats usually deny any allegations of wrongdoing. Pfizer said Tuesday it would not comment on the matter. The American pharmaceutical giant and German firm BioNTech co-developed the first COVID-19 vaccine approved for emergency use by the World Health Organization, called the WHO. North Korea hacking accusations. This is not the first time North Korean cyber criminals have been accused of stealing information related to treating COVID-19. Microsoft claims in November that cyber attacks from North Korea targeted vaccine makers, sometimes masquerading as World Health Organization representative. The majority of the attacks were blocked. Microsoft said in the statement at the time. Reuters reported later that month that North Korean hackers were suspected to have carried out the cyber attack against British coronavirus vaccine developer AstraZeneca, posing as recruiters and approaching the pharmaceutical company's staff, including those working on COVID-19 research with fake job offers. North Korea has invested heavily in recent years in offensive cyber capabilities, allowing the impoverished countries to earn money, attack enemies, and pursue priorities of the Kim Jong-un regime at relatively minimal expense. The United Nations accused the Pyongyang's hackers of stealing virtual assets worth $316.4 million, between 2019 and November 2020. Money that likely went towards funding the country's nuclear and ballistic missile programs in violation of international law. It appears the Kim regime has diverted its cyber capabilities toward its pandemic prevention efforts and securing a vaccine. COVAX, an initiative to provide equitable global access to COVID-19 vaccines, said it will provide North Korea with nearly 2 million doses of the AstraZeneca Oxford coronavirus. But North Korea is likely doing everything it can to get the vaccine in its people, even if it means resorting to stealing. The North Koreans are taking a comprehensive approach, said Dr. Ki B. Park, the director of Korea Health Policy Project at Harvard Medical School and the North Korea program at the Korean American Medical Association. They're trying everything, manufacturing their own, maybe through Gavi, an organization involved in COVAX, maybe through bilateral channels. North Korea's top priority since the pandemic emerged last year has been keeping the coronavirus from overwhelming its dilapidated healthcare infrastructure. Pyongyang voluntarily severed most of its scant ties with the outside world in 2020 to prevent the influx of COVID-19, including cutting off almost all trade with Beijing, an economic lifeline North Korea needs to keep its people from going hungry. The clampdown on trade pummeled the economy, but from the public health standpoint, it appears to have worked. It does not appear that North Korea has suffered through major outbreak of COVID-19 with, within its borders. North Korea said it has not recorded a single case of COVID-19, a claim most experts view as suspect. The country has tested only a fraction of its population and has a shared border with China where the pandemic began. Still, Kim, who is overweight and reportedly lives a very unhealthy lifestyle, has been confident enough to appear to public without a mask on multiple occasions during the pandemic. He and his wife Lee Seol-ju were photographed attending a concert maskless on Tuesday. It was the first time Lee had appeared in North Korean state media in more than a year. Ha, the South Korean lawmaker, said that South Korean intelligence believed she was lying low as a precaution due to the pandemic. The utility of the data. It's not exactly clear what data North Korea allegedly stole from Pfizer or what North Korean scientists can do with it. North Korea has in July either attempted to develop its own coronavirus vaccine, but few believed that Pyongyang had the scientific resources or finances to pursue an endeavor endeavor that ended up costing billions of dollars. Park from Harvard Medical School said that on a visit to North Korea, she saw medical professionals give presentations demonstrating the know-how and the technology to manipulate and splice genes. However, the country may not be able to conduct the crucial next steps in vaccine development, he said. With so few cases likely inside North Korea, there are probably not enough infected people within the country to properly test the inefficacy of a domestic made vaccine. Park said, conducting trials abroad, like China did, would likely be too expensive and could break United Nations sanctions barring joint ventures with the Kim regime. Then there's a question of whether North Korea has the ability to manufacture a vaccine on such a large scale. Pyongyang typically relies on international donors for other vaccines, like the one to treat tuberculosis. Finally, it's unclear just how useful the Pfizer data would be to North Korea. The Pfizer BioNTech vaccine was the first vaccine ever approved for emergency use to employ mRNA technology, something only a handful of pharmaceutical companies uh, has been able to achieve. Those which have those which have achieved this have spent billions doing so, according to Park. Even if North Korea could develop an mRNA vaccine like Pfizer's, it's unlikely the country has the special equipment to transport and store it. The Pfizer vaccine must be kept at ultra cold temperatures of about minus 100 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 75 degrees Celsius, in order to keep the fragile mRNA material safe. mRNA is cutting edge technology, Park said. Whether or not North Korea has that type of technology, I don't know, but I'd be I would be really surprised if they be able to do that. It's something that even a lot of the developed countries are struggling with. CNN's Will Ripley, Paula Hancock, and Amanda Sealy contributed this report.